Hello and welcome to Fergie's Gum. My name is Nathan and I'm joined as always by my good friend Ahmed.
Hi Nathan, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very good, thank you. It's getting a bit warm over here though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting too warm.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we're
So we're supposed
almost,
to be in winter.
well, it's definitely, winter's gone. Winter has definitely gone. We're entering the summer phase. It's 36 degrees outside and it's only getting warmer from here. But you know, we cope with it. Although I am recording this without any AC on right now, so that there's no hum in the background. So if I start to get a bead just running down my face, if you could just let me know, just pop your hand up or something, and
Uh,
I'll dab it down. Um, anyway, we're here to talk about Manchester United as always. The game the other night, Nottingham Forest, close game, lost 1-0, obviously, at the City Ground. But we dominated that game. It was weird to kind of come away with it feeling like we should have, like, we deserved more out of that match. What do you think?
yeah, I thought so as well. I thought we deserved at least a draw um, because we were actually playing well. The performance was good. We controlled the game. Uh, we created a few chances. They weren't clear-cut chances, but they were chances. We should have scored at least one goal, and we limited Forest to their only chance of the game, which they scored. So yeah, it was a mixed game, I'd say.
I think I think Onana. I think the stats said Onana made one save in that game, whereas Matt Sells made five, which is he's in the contention for Golden Gloves this season because I mean as a defence and obviously as their goalkeeper, he's been brilliant this season. But yeah, coming away from that game, we talked previously about we needed a performance. I think we got the performance. It's just there was no cutting edge to that team, and I think that's a bit of a worry going into the game against Lyon. Like I think we can control that game in the Europa League. I think we can go into that game and control it again. But if we haven't got someone that's putting the ball in the back of the net, that's a struggle. And we don't seem to be able to get our attackers firing on all fronts, and they haven't hit a purple patch. It's been very sporadic for Hoyland and Xerxes. But when you're coming off the pitch with an XG for Hoyland specifically that is lower than Harry Maguire, who was used as a makeshift striker from about 70 minutes onwards, that's a bad sign for Rasmus Hoyland. And it seems to only be getting worse with him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the same every time. He scores a goal, Hoyland scores a goal, or he plays well, and then people, I don't know, they get their hopes up that maybe he's finding some form. But honestly, I just every time when I see him play, there's something missing there. He can't create chances for himself. I know people, they always seem to blame the system or like the players around him that they don't create enough chances for him. But like you said, Maguire came on and he had more XG than Hoyland, and that was from Maguire. Actually, if you actually saw the chances Maguire had, it was from his movement. Like he had good movement. He's strong, and he fought for the ball. That's why he had
Yeah.
expected goals. Hoyland, he lacks in a lot of stuff, and that's maybe one of them. So yeah, I don't know what's wrong with him, to be honest.
One of the overarching factors about Manchester United in the last season and a half, I would say, is that they've been incredibly inconsistent. We can pull out a decent result away at Arsenal, at City, in the FA Cup, in the League Cup, like all of these competitions where we have to raise it. Like we generally tend to have another gear, another level that we can go up to. But do you think that this kind of average squad that we've got and the inconsistencies of the squad is all is making players like Hoyland, like Garnacho, like Xerxes, is it making them look worse? Is it highlighting their deficiencies because the rest of the team around them aren't playing very well as well?
Maybe there. I mean, you could make an argument for that. I'd get if someone made an argument for that. If they say, for example, if you put Hoyland and the Arsenal team or in a Liverpool team, he's gonna score chances for sure. But the fact is that okay, it's he's at Man United, and we're watching the games. Like I watch every single game, and I can tell like that he's actually I can't just blame the players around him. He has to do way more. So I don't think it's I think it's too easy to say that to just say that okay, no, it's because of the players around them. No, they have to step up, and they're not good enough. Honestly, for at this moment, they're not good enough in terms of potential. Maybe they have something, but for now, no,
What
I'm not gonna.
what is it? What is it that you think Hoyland needs to do more of then? Because he does seem to get like tangled up in these battles with centre backs that he just can't win, and I think that throws him off his game. Obviously, defenders know that now, so they just get in his head. But is there anything specific that you think that he needs to do to change his game? I know we're two like amateur footballers talking about a professional footballer, but can you see something in his game from all the games that you watch that he's just not doing enough of?
Yeah.
Apart from scoring, sorry, apart from scoring.
Like you said, he focuses more on the physical battle with the defender. Uh, but yeah, other than that, I think his first touch, honestly, he needs to work on it a lot. I don't know if he can work on it because like first touch at this stage of your career, you either have it or you don't.
Mm.
And he seems to the ball seems to bounce off of him like way too easily, and every like 9 out of 10 times the ball bounces off of him. So that's a very important thing, especially in the Premier League, because if your first touch is not good and like the defender is like right behind you and he gives you a nudge and you can't control it, then there's no point of you. Like you can't hold up the play, you can't set up your teammates, you can't do anything. So that's a major part of his game that he needs to work on. And even when he gets like a, for example, the chance against Arsenal when Casemiro was pressing and like he intercepted it and it came to Hoyland, he wanted Hoyland's first touch. He meant to set himself up for the shot. And it was a very bad
Mm.
first touch, and yeah, it gave Declan Rice the chance to make that tackle. So yeah, he needs to work on that.
I think the other comparison with another Manchester United striker that really struggled is Romelu Lukaku, who doesn't have the best first touch in the world, but he's a strong player and can kind of make up for it with his quickness and his strength. And you look at the way that he is dominating outside of the Premier League. I think you're right. I think there is something to be said about that because Hoyland has come from Atalanta, where he I guess kind of flattered to deceive over there. He didn't score that many. I think it was only 8 goals that he scored before he moved to Manchester United. So it wasn't like he was prolific. But I think the point that you're making there is critical because if you don't have that first touch, the Premier League is so different. It is touch tight with a lot of defenders, and they love it. They love getting in there. They love snapping into the challenges and getting the ball as soon as it hits your touch. And if that's not right, then obviously you're in trouble basically with anything that you do. The other player that had another disaster class was Garnacho. Again, he is very, very inconsistent. However, there was some quotes that came out from the pre-match press conference from Amorim. I'm just going to read them out now because Garnacho is one of those players that he blows hot and cold. This summer's going to be critical for him, whether or not he's going to stay or whether United are going to try and cash in on him. We'll talk about transfers later. But Amorim, in his press conference, he said, he's doing the right things. Like any player in our team, he has to choose better in the last third. We have to improve all the players. Maybe Bruno is the one that can do something like assist or scoring goals very easily. Garnacho is improving the way he defends, the way he runs, so he's working hard. He needs to score more goals and assists, but so do the other guys. I see him as a young kid that wants to improve, but is not in a great moment in that department like the other guys on the team. So going full circle back to what I was talking about before, is it a symptom of the team being crap? And that's why, like players like I almost said Amorim, but I mean he could probably do a job right now. But bring it like players like Garnacho, players like Hoyland, players like Xerxes, there is obviously something wrong with the rest of the team, and they're not filling in for these guys. But I get what you're saying, but it seems that Amorim notices the same things that we all do, but he can see that he's trying to do it. It's a weird one with Garnacho. One week I'm completely on him. I'm Team Garnacho, and I want him to stay. Next week I'm thinking 50 mil, have it, take it.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat, to be honest. On the right, Garnacho, I think he's way more suited for the system. Uh, the reason why I think the game against Forest, he seemed to be like, having a disaster class was because he moved him onto the left. On the left, Garnacho is way too one-dimensional. Like he just wants to cut in and get that shot off into the far
Mm.
corner. He keeps on doing that. But like you were saying, yeah, the point you were saying, if it's because of the system, even Garnacho. Personally, I think if you, just imagining if we have someone like a different player in that system, if you have someone like I don't know, Luis Diaz, for example. Okay,
Mm.
I'm not even gonna like name Vinicius or something. It's just Luis Diaz. If you put him on the left there, he's gonna make a difference. Even if the
Yeah.
system is the system that we're playing now, he's gonna make a difference because his decisions are good. Like he knows when to pass, he knows when to dribble, he knows when to shoot. Garnacho seems to like his decisions, and it all comes down to him, to Garnacho. It's the decision that you make at that moment. So you cannot blame the system for that. The amount of
Yeah.
times he ignores the overlap from Patrick Dorgo when he can just slip him in when Dorgo is just making that overlap. I think he ignores him like 9 out of 10 times. I don't know why. I think
But
everyone
do
noticed.
you, I think that that's a symptom of him trying too hard. I think he's trying to overcompensate on stuff. I get what you mean, and like it's fair to disagree on these types of things. I think the reason why he does it is he's trying to win over the fans, prove his doubters wrong, and try to be effective and be that match winner. Because it's no secret that his idol is Cristiano Ronaldo, and what does Cristiano Ronaldo do every game? Even during his early days at Manchester United, he was effective. He was a game changer, and he could turn on a bit of magic, and he could win the game. And I think Garnacho still has a bit of that in his brain. I still think he looks at Ronaldo and he's like, yeah, I can do that. I can score those goals. I can do these things and I can be effective. And he's probably heard from Ronaldo and he's probably heard from Messi, you've got to be a bit more selfish. And I get it. A lot of those wingers that excel, they are a bit more selfish than, a midfielder, a defender. But decision making is critical and it's a huge thing. And I don't think he particularly has it in abundance. But one other thing that I wanted to say about this before we move on to the next section, the goal obviously that Nottingham Forest scored was from Anthony Elanga, which really stings because I think as Manchester United fans, we kind of wanted to see him excel at Old Trafford, and there was a time when it looked like he might have done. Now things could have been different. He could have stayed at United and been absolutely dog eggs, but he's gone on to Nottingham Forest. He's been great there, but he still feels like that type of player is what we need now. He just ran the length of the pitch, scored a goal. You never back Onana because he always dives with his hands in his pockets. But he sprinted away, scored the goal, made the right decision, and then you've got Garnacho that we're talking about now. If we still had him, where it's a shoulda, woulda, coulda kind of situation, but Elanga, one that got away.
I don't know. At the time, I was convinced that it was the right decision for him to move on because yeah, the performances that he was having in his last season, yeah, they were. It was obvious he was not up to the standard, and he needed to move on for his sake and for the club to make some money. I still think I thought at the time, and I do think now that it was way too cheap for someone like him. 15 million, I think, Forest paid. Uh, but yeah, this is what they call revisionism, is it? Yeah, revision is it? Yeah, well, you look back at things and you're like, okay, was it the right decision? Was it not? Because I still think he's doing well, but he's not doing as well as everyone thinks at first. He only has like, I don't know, like 12 goal involvements the whole season in a team that's third in the table and that plays counter attack, which is tailored tailor made for his skill set. So he's not like lighting it up, as people think. Yeah, he scored that goal, which was avoidable 3, 4 times. Like if Garnacho may put that tackle in, if Dorgu was stronger in the challenge, if we didn't lose that corner so cheaply, and if Onana, like you said, if Onana doesn't dive with his hands in his pocket, which is insane because it wasn't even in the corner. Um, so yeah, I'm happy that he's doing well, but I don't think it was the wrong decision for him to move on.
So we're closing in on the summer transfer window, which I think opens early this year because of the Club World Cup. I think it opens in June for 2 weeks and then closes again during the Club World Cup and then opens again beginning of July, I think it opens. So, we're not that far away from United kicking people out and bringing people in. I think we've only got 2 more games at Old Trafford as well in the league. So that's how close we are to the end of the season. Um, there was a furrow
Yeah,
brow. He's not sure. He's not sure. In the Premier League, I'm sure it is. I think it's only 2. I'll
interesting.
double check that in the next break. But anyway, transfer window's about to open, and obviously there's going to be big movements because Ruben Amorim wants to get the squad of players that he needs to challenge on all fronts next season, not just the Premier League. And also, there's going to be a few players that are going to be going out as well. So incomings and outgoings. The most interesting one that I saw recently, or that I was watching, was Laurie Whitwell appeared on the Stretford Paddock podcast, and they was talking about the potential swap deal for Garnacho and Osimhen. Now, on paper, that seems perfect, but long term, I kind of feel that Napoli are getting a better deal. If there was no cash involved in it, I think Napoli would be getting a better deal with that. What do you think about that type of deal?
I, I think it wouldn't be like a straight swap because I don't think they do that anymore. It would be just like a deal. We'd pay money and they'd pay money because we would need the money to come in so we can use it for FFP because he's pure profit. Um, but I think they're going for the same value. So I think they're around 50, 60 million.
Mm.
Uh, I think it's fair, to be honest. I think it's fair because I know it in terms of age, for example, and potential. Napoli might be getting a better deal, but in terms of what each club needs at the moment, I think it's a good deal for both teams and for both players as well.
In terms of like the better deal, I mean that Garnacho's obviously younger, so he's got more time to play at Napoli, and Osimhen's reaching the peak of his career. Is he 28, 29, Osimhen?
He's 26.
Maybe. He's 26, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, forget I said anything then. It's fine. It's all good. But no, I kind of feel like, the younger player, when you're getting a younger player like that, yeah, you're probably not going to do a straight swap. As you say, FFP dictates that we need the money to come in for Garnacho. Maybe it would be, 50 million. They pay 50 million for Garnacho. We can then use that as PSR, and then we pay 50 million for Osimhen. Maybe that would be the deal. Although Garnacho gives us more because it's spread across all the different years and whatever, all that complicated stuff. So I think it would make sense. Can you remember who the last straight swap deal was that we did?
Yeah, it was Alexis and Mkhitaryan.
And look how that turned out. Fantastic, right? It shows how those
Yeah.
how those things work out well. The other rumor that was popping up with another Italian-based player or Italy-based player that we was talking about getting in, David De Gea coming back to Old Trafford as competition for Andre Onana next season on a free transfer of all things. I'm not too sure about that. That's 2 goalkeepers that we are best rid of. and we need to start again. That's in my mind anyway. I think we need two new goalkeepers. If that's your option, De Gea and Onana, I think like you've got it wrong. The scouting and the plan moving forward is all wrong.
Yeah, no, just no way.
Just no. That's a no. That's a firm no from Ahmed. He says
No.
no. But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. The reason why we got rid of him in the first place was because he wasn't good enough. We needed an all rounder. I do feel for both goalkeepers in this situation because De Gea was booted out because we wanted to play a different kind of football, right? So he couldn't kick. So we got rid of him. Now we've got Onana, who was brought in to play a very specific style of football from the back, which was brought in by Eric Ten Hag. And now I think a majority of his distribution now is played long to chase down scraps. So both goalkeepers have been brought into Old Trafford or have played at Old Trafford with specific jobs in mind, and now both of them, I mean, De Gea's playing all right at Fiorentina, but Andre Onana's like, what am I doing now? Because I'm not a shot stopper, so what's going on? So I think both goalkeepers, sorry, no, it still rings true. Not De Gea, but both goalkeepers, Bayindir and Onana, they need replacing this year, if we can. If we can. They're not priority, but I think we definitely need to replace them this season. The other one, which looks like it's going to be the one that got away, is Gyökeres has already kind of hinted that he doesn't want to go to Manchester United because he wants to win silverware and play for teams that are going to win silverware. So God knows why he's being linked to Arsenal, but there you go. It's one of the rumours that David Ornstein basically picked up and said, Arsenal showing a lot of interest in him. Him and Nico Williams. Is it Nico Williams? Yeah. And that would be great for them. But Gyökeres, I'm still not convinced. And I know I could be eating my words on this. I'm still not convinced he's the right person for Manchester United to have up front, because the more I read about him, the more I watch him, he's not a dominant force. He's just a very good striker in Portugal. And I don't think that necessarily translates to being a great striker here, which is why I'm leaning more towards Osimhen, because he's done it in different countries. So yeah, how do you feel about the Gyökeres to Arsenal?
Yeah, I agree. I think when we spoke about him in previous podcasts, I thought the same. I wasn't that convinced as well. People do not watch the Portuguese league, so they just see the goals, they see the highlights, and then they just make up their mind. But I watched him a few times. He's good, but I still don't think he's the one that we need right now at this stage. We need someone proven, and getting someone from the Portuguese league is a big risk. That's why I was always leaning towards Osimhen, because, like you said, he's done it in Italy. Although Serie A isn't the best league, but he won the league with Napoli, and now he's doing it in Galatasaray. And regardless of where he does it, if you just watch him, you can tell, like, in the Premier League he would do really well. And he's a killer striker. I don't know if you've seen his goal as well. In the last game against Fenerbahce, when Jose Mourinho, I don't know, like, attacked the other manager for some reason.
Hang on, wait. Let's rewind that. Did you actually see the incident? Did you see what happened?
I don't know what he was doing.
So I think, and this might be controversial, but the opposition manager, the Galatasaray manager, should have been booked for simulation, because he went down very easy with only the tiniest of touches on his nose, and he collapsed to the floor. But I know I mean, Mourinho's got beef with Galatasaray anyway, because he was accused of being a racist by them a few weeks back as well. So I think it's all, it is bubbling over. But it was nice, the Manchester United connection again. It was nice to see Oli getting wins with Besiktas over Galatasaray, who are top of the league at the moment. And I think Besiktas are doing well. Galatasaray had won 12 on the bounce or something like that. Came
Uh,
up against came up against Solskjaer's mighty Besiktas, and and fell to his managerial prowess.
he's doing really well, honestly. But Ole is so underrated. I'm always gonna say that. No one can ever change my mind. Even when they talk about the time that he had at United, I don't know why they talk about it as if it was a failure or something. I have no idea.
Because when you talk about revisionism, like you did before, in hindsight, you only remember the bad times. Like the most recent times are the bad times. So when it was all going bad, like Eric Ten Hag, you only remember really the bad season. There's the FA Cup, obviously, but you remember like the state we was in at the beginning of this season when it was all like brilliant. We're going to push on. We've got so many like building blocks in place, and then it was a disaster. But going back to the transfers again, is Osman the one for you, or do you think there's another striker that could do this job? Is there a better option?
I don't think there's a better option, but Osman is the one for me. He is the best option out there. I think he would transform the team. Honestly, personally, I think if you start next season with Osman as your number nine, you're gonna watch. You're gonna see something different. That's my opinion. Uh, as a plan B, and we've been linked with him as well. Liam Delap is my second option. Um, I think he's good. I think he has potential. The only reason I'd prefer Osman over Delap is because we need something proven. But Delap is a good plan B because he's young, he's English as well, which is important, and he has experience in the Premier League, and he has a lot of potential. Uh, so yeah, Liam Delap is my plan B.
It's time for overrated, underrated, the feature where we decide whether a Manchester United player from past or present was overrated or underrated. And this week, Ahmed, you have the honour of serving me a player for me to discuss, and for you to discuss as well. So away you go, my friend.
All right, so I'm gonna be giving you the hints.
Okay.
So the first one is he started his youth career at City, Manchester City.
Started his youth career at Manchester City. Okay. Yeah, go on. We'll keep going.
Okay.
Next one. Yeah.
Um, he played in the 2012 Olympics.
Oh, okay. All right. Go on. Last one. Last one. I think I know who it is, but I just want this last clue.
Try, go for it. Give it a guess.
Is it Tom Cleverley?
No.
No?
Nope.
All right.
He
Is it Ryan
scored 100.
Giggs?
Yeah, that's the one.
I was going to say Giggs first. I don't know why I went with Tom Cleverley. When you said the British Olympics, the only player I could imagine in the Olympics strip was Tom Cleverley.
He
But there we
played in that?
go. I think so, yeah. I'm fairly certain he did. But I've told you, my memory's shot to pieces, mate. Since we had 3 kids, that's it. I can barely remember anything. I go through all the names before I get to the right one now. So it's a disaster. Ryan Giggs, overrated, underrated. Massive shout, mate. Well, I guess we did start this feature off with David Beckham, didn't we?
Yeah.
Back in the day. Yeah. Okay. So it's a weird one with Ryan Giggs because even I know he's had his indiscretions off the pitch, but he's kind of been scrubbed from Manchester United history. You know, you never really see him around the club, or you never see him as an ambassador anymore. So again, we're talking about revisionism. But I would say, like in terms of his ability and the things that he could do, the younger, it's the way that older generations would have talked about George Best seeing Ryan Giggs come through. Do you know what I mean? I think it's they look at wingers now, and like Giggs was the archetypal flying winger. You know, he couldn't do anything wrong. He was exactly what you wanted in that position. And I would say history has been kind to him in terms of like his ability. There's still not that many people saying he's a fraud, which becomes the binary response to anything from football fans these days. Paul Scholes is a fraud. Yeah, sure he is. Roy Keane is a fraud. Yep, sure. Whatever you want. But I think Giggs during that period underrated, mate. Underrated, I would say. And the reason why I say that as well is because when it looked like he was about to retire, we started to remember just how much of a dominant force he was. Even when he slowed down, we put him into central midfield, which, looking back now was like, what are you doing? What are you doing putting Giggs in there? And he could still do it. And there was a few games where he played at wing back as well. And he became a utility player towards the end of his career, and he kept himself in good shape, a little bit like Ronaldo now, but not quite as, beefed up. But he kept himself in good nick, and he was ready to go all the time. And I think a player like Ryan Giggs will always be underrated for what he offered for Manchester United.
Interesting. Yeah, I wanted to get your take on it, since I'm sure like I just caught almost the end of his career.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you want an
but
interesting fact about Ryan Giggs?
yeah, for sure.
His brother almost ran me over in Old Trafford car park
No way.
when I was about 13. And he came, it was Rodri Giggs, who obviously I don't think they talk to each other anymore. He almost ran me over. Then he came flying over, went around the car park, came flying over, and he's like, "Oh, you seen my brother?" Like, who's your brother? Didn't know who this guy was. I was 13. It's like Ryan. I was like, Ryan who? Like, Ryan Giggs. It's my brother. It's like, all right, no. And then he sped off in his Sierra. So it was always a little bit of a, just trying to show off, all my brother's Ryan Giggs type of thing, hanging off his coattails. But that same day, I'm fairly certain I almost got run over by Paul Parker as well. It wasn't like I was playing chicken in the road and trying to duke out cars or anything like that. But that was the day, and I saw this is going back, mate. Back in the UK, do you know what teletext is, Ahmed?
No.
No, geez, right, okay. I'm just about to turn to dust because I'm so old. But teletext in the UK was how you got your football news. It was pre Fabrizio Romano in digital form and before the internet, really. So what you would do is you'd have your TV and you click teletext. There was a teletext button, and it would bring up like breaking news, but in like really old format, like old PC style, or Commodore 64. Again, another reference that you probably don't get, but it was all this like old old looking fonts and stuff like that. But it was brilliant, and that's how you knew how what was going on in football before, because obviously you didn't have a newspaper like every hour, but that would update every hour or so.
Mm.
So that day when we got back, because me and my mate did almost get run over by Paul Parker. I know we're supposed to be talking about Ryan Giggs' legacy here, but it's worth it. And when we got back, we found out that he'd been sold to Middlesbrough at the time. So I think he was literally screaming out of the car park, having found out that he'd just been sold for, I think, £1 million at the time.
Which is expensive at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, well, sort of. But yeah, just going back to Giggsy, it's a weird one. I would implore anyone that's of your age. What are you, 19, 20? How old are you again?
28 almost, but okay.
21. I would implore anyone that's your age and younger to go back and look at the footage of Ryan Giggs. I don't know how much they do on the United channel. As I say, some of the stuff that he's done off the field has kind of scrubbed in from their history. But if you can find videos of not even highlights reels, just watch a game that Giggs played in, like from the 90s and early 2000s. He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. And he absolutely terrified defenders. In the same way that we look at it now, that younger fans look at football now and they go, look at Vinny Jr., the way that he's taking people on, look at Saka, the way that he's got people scared. Giggs was another level. Stepping onto the pitch and watching him play on the right or the left or through the middle, defenders didn't know how to deal with him. And there's obviously the famous FA Cup goal where he took on half the Arsenal team and leathered it into the roof of the net past David Seaman. You know, absolutely amazing. Was it David Seaman or was it Jens Lehmann? I can't remember anymore.
No,
Again,
it's not
as I
Jens Lehmann.
say, I
It's
think it
Seaman.
was David Seaman. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just one. That's just one goal. There was many others, and there was a time when it looked like it was going to be Lee Sharp and Ryan Giggs would be the wingers for United, but Beckham emerged, and then we got rid of Lee Sharp. Where did he go to? Another Middlesbrough signing, I think, or somewhere like that. Got rid of Sharp. Beckham came in, and him and Giggs just complemented each other so well on the wings. It was a great time. So underrated, I'm going to say, underrated.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, like I wanted to know because people now when even when they recently when they're talking about top 5 Premier League players in history, no one seems to mention Giggs for some reason, which is insane to me because the guy won 13 Premier League titles. 13. I don't think people grasp how impressive that is, or like how big of an achievement that is. And he was integral in it. And I don't know, I'd say 11 out of the 13. Uh,
I think it's because of it's the social media era, like where opinions are based on 25-second clips. You know,
yeah,
people
honestly.
make a binary judgment based on it, and if Giggs hasn't got, because Giggs wasn't your he's always doing tricks type of player. You know, if you saw a highlight reel of Giggs, it's turning players inside out. It was very practical, very like simple stuff that he was doing. It wasn't always with a feint or anything. It was literally like having players like twisting up, running back towards their own goal. No defender wants to run back towards their own goal. And those things don't make great clips. For me, they do. They're great.
Yeah.
I love seeing those, and they give me goosebumps when I see him turning players inside and out. But now they want to see a flick. They want to see a rainbow flick. They want to see a little jump over the ball and all of this rubbish.
When
It's not
people
rubbish. It's not rubbish. It's part of the game, but it's just that's the type of level that people want to look at now.
honestly, like when people they even recently, for example, they say Mo Salah is the best winger in Premier League history, for example. This gets on my nerves because like what are you talking about? Then
Yeah.
if you argue with someone, they're like, look at the numbers, but the numbers aren't everything. You
But
can't compare.
the numbers can tell you anything that you want, right? It's how you interpret them. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Like if you've got an illness, you've got the symptoms of something. You search online, you'll often find that it's cancer. If you want to,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you'll find whatever you want it to be is there online. You just have to search for it. Is cheeseburgers part of a healthy diet? Yes, because one website says it. But in terms of like the stats, Mo Salah's having an absolutely fantastic season with Liverpool right now, and he's tearing it up. However, the other teams that are in that league aren't fit to lace the boots of those teams from the late 90s. The Arsenals, the Chelseas, the Manchester Uniteds, obviously, like they're not. They're literally not. So you look at everything that Mo Salah is doing at the moment. Great season, fantastic. But those numbers don't tell all the story. They don't say that Man City were reigning champions and completely fell off, so there wasn't really that much pressure. It doesn't say that Arsenal have always been the bridesmaid, never the bride, like for the past like 15, 20 years, whatever it is. It doesn't say all of these things. It doesn't
Yeah,
show that the team that he's playing in is playing like really good football in themselves. So yeah, I
and
mean,
also
it
like
non-comparable.
the football like the systems, especially when it comes to wingers, these days, it's like the wingers are the ones who are going to be scoring the goals. They're going to be so close to goal. But for example, back in the day when Giggs was in his prime, for example, his job
Yeah.
wasn't to be close or in the box or anything like you see Salah, for example. It was always
Yeah.
like run to the byline, beat your man, get the cross in. You've got Cole, you've got York in the box, you've got Sheringham, you've got Keane crashing the box, you've got Scholes. So that's why
Yeah.
Giggs, he has the most assists in Premier League history. Yeah, it's because of longevity, but it's also because it was what he was meant to do, and he was
But
he was
we
perfect at it.
but we were talking about Garnacho before in the decision making that he has to like come up with to be able to excel at Manchester United or at any team, you know. And Giggs had that, you know, as you say, assist leader, but he was chipping in with goals. He was a constant threat, and that preceded him before he even stepped onto the pitch. It was like, we're up against Ryan Giggs today. This is how you have to defend against him. There would be plans specifically for Ryan Giggs, how to deal with him, double up on him, bring a midfielder across, do whatever you can to get the ball, kick him. And this is before VAR. Those lads got kicked during those days, and they bounced back up again to carry on with that game. Can you see them making that plan for Garnacho now? Or it's as simple as like for Anthony, you know, just put him onto his right. He's going to cut inside, just put him onto his right. That's it. That's your instructions. With Giggs, it was like, what are we going to do? How are we going to
And
defend against this guy?
even later in his career, when he dropped into midfield, he used to drop masterclasses, honestly. Even when he was like 39, 40, 38, whatever, he used to drop masterclasses, and he used to work so hard. I remember the Champions League game against Real Madrid in Sir Alex's last season, the one we played at
Yeah.
Old Trafford. Giggs was playing midfield that game. He was playing midfield, and he was insane. Like he used to, he was it
I was
midfield?
good. I was no. He was. He definitely was. I'm trying to think of, as you were saying that. I was trying to think of goals like assists and things, because he was like playing those through balls and threading them through. And now
There's
I'm
the
just like
Yeah.
my
If
brain
you
just
want,
clicked to the Michael Owen one, right?
yeah, the Michael Owen one was insane. It
Yeah.
was an amazing pass. And even in his last season, I remember we were playing in the FA Cup against Villa, away to Villa, and we were losing 1-0. And then Van Persie comes on, kicks. Yeah, he gets the ball in the
Yeah.
middle of the park and plays that long ball. Van Persie, one touch, second touch, just shoot. Van Persie was
Yeah.
lethal, but Giggs' ball was insane. Like he used to be,
Exactly.
he used to do everything, and he's so
Mm.
underrated. Like when people talk about the best British player in history, and they put Bale above him, for example, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Honestly, the disrespect. Maybe we're biased because we're United fans, but no, honestly, like I think any football fan who takes the time to go back and watch, because I watch a
Mm.
lot of the old games, not clips. I watch games,
Yeah.
and you can tell that he kicks, like you say, he struck fear into every single opposition, and he was so
Yeah.
effective. He was so good, honestly.
I can safely say that Ryan Giggs in my book was definitely underrated. Okay, so up next for Manchester United is Manchester City. It's the Manchester Derby at home at Old Trafford. And a big fact check from a couple of breaks ago. I did say that this was the last one of two games at Old Trafford in the Premier League season. It is. It is.
Is
I
it?
know you was doubting me. It is, yeah. So tomorrow, then it's Lyon away, then it's Newcastle away, then it's Lyon at home, then it's Wolves at home, and then the last two games of the season against Bournemouth and Brentford are both away.
Yeah, but we have Villa at home. I think we have Ipswich at home.
In the Premier League?
Yeah.
Hang
Not
on,
Ipswich, sorry,
mate.
Villa. Villa at home.
We've done Villa. We've done them, mate.
At home? No. I
We've
think
done
it's the
two
last
Villas, haven't we?
it's the last game of the
Look,
season.
have a look on FootMob. Check it out. Let's do this live. Let's do our research live. I'm
Um,
sure, because it goes down to the end of the season. Hang on,
yeah,
that's
we
club
have.
friendlies. Mate, I've missed it. I have. There was another page.
Yeah.
There's another. Just put them all on one page. It's right there. You could have extended that down, FootMob. Come on, lads. Unbelievable. Anyway, one of the last games of the season at Old Trafford. All right, I think that's what we'll say now. I think it's the same as the Forest game, right? It's all about the performance. We're looking ahead to Lyon. It's not about the league anymore. We're not going to get relegated. There's three other teams that are much worse than Manchester United. It's about the performance, and it's about trying to get one of those strikers to bag a goal, even if it goes in off their backside. Like, we just need to get some sort of positive performance out of them where they can take it into this game against Lyon, because we should be beating them. I'm not going to lie, like, we should be beating Lyon. City are not in great form. Like, Haaland's out, so obviously, you know, I said Chris Wood was out, so we had a chance last week. But you know, it doesn't matter if their top striker's out. They'll probably still do a number on us. But it's more about the performance right now, and we just need to look like we're moving forward, right?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like you said, the league is over. There's no point. But the only purpose from the league right now is getting confidence, getting momentum to go into the Europa League games. Yeah, I think we do well against City, especially at home. We can do something. And yeah, in regards to Lyon, they lost 4-1 in the league, like, yeah, 2 games ago. So they're
Yeah.
also not unbeatable. I mean, like, even if we're not in our best shape, I think we can beat them even away. But yeah, in regards to City, Haaland is out, so yeah, I think it gives us a better chance. And if we put in the same performance we put against Forest, and we're just a bit more clinical, and it's different because Forest, they play a really low block and they just crowd their box with players. City, they
Yeah.
don't do that. So I think we do better against teams that, like City, for example, when we can play on the counter or something. So yeah,
Yeah.
we have a chance.
That was the worrying thing, actually. Just going back to the beginning of the podcast, Forest had played 120 minutes at the weekend in the FA Cup before they progressed through on penalties, and we still couldn't take advantage of the fact that they were tired. That was, and Chris Wood was out. It should have been a game that we actually won. So again, I'm just adding to the disappointment of that result. But in terms of like controlling the game, I think we had something like 62% possession in the game. We had more shots, we had more tackles. They had about 25 clearances. So it's that's positive from me. That's something to kind of build on. So as much as I always want to beat City, 100%. So I'll be looking forward to them really taking the game to them. But it has to be another big performance. It has to show robustness. It has to show style. It has to show what we're about, what Amorim's building for the future. And it can't just be a one-off against like Forest, and it can't just be a one-off against the top teams. This has to be how we play from now until Amorim's booted out. You know.
Yeah,
So I'm just going to jump straight into it. What do you think the score will be?
I'm gonna go for a win. I think we're gonna win 2-1 again. I said that against Forest. I think we're gonna win 2-1 against City.
I think it's going to be a close one again. I think it'll be 2-2. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. FPL pick? Is there anyone apart from Bruno?
It's just Bruno.
Yeah, I think it's just Bruno. I wouldn't really want to bank on anyone else. Dorgu's an outside shout, just because I like a wild card. just because I like to put someone in. The league's over. Fantasy football for me is dead and buried. But I do like putting in a wild card every now and again and just seeing what they can do. But I'm not
But
advising anyone else to do that.
I need to ask, would you rotate this game?
No, I don't think you can afford to. I think Old Trafford has witnessed so much bad football this season that they need a huge pick-me-up in beating Manchester City at home. And I think if they did win, I think all would be forgiven for all the past results, all the rubbish results that they've had at Old Trafford over the course of the season. I think you look at that you look at one big result against City and you're like, all right, yeah, fine, we beat them. Do you know what I mean? So I think I wouldn't rotate. I wouldn't rotate. I'd stick with what we just had, and unless you rotate the strikers, that'd probably be the only thing that I would try to do. Is bring Hoyland out. Who started? Was it Xerxes at the weekend on Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the only one. That's the only bone of contention. Whether or not you stick with the same striker going out. But no, I think you got to build on it. You got to keep the same team. I think Cobby's getting close to a return, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's getting close. I think Ahmed might be back before the end of the season as well. You know, if we get through against Lyon, I know I'm already looking past City, but again, it feels like a dead rubber. Neither team's got anything to play for apart from pride. But if we do get through against Lyon and we start to get our squad players back, and we start to get Ahmed back, and we get Mainu back, we're in with a real shout in Bilbao. I think we'd be okay.
Do you think Bilbao are going to qualify against Rangers?
I think they will, but the final's in Bilbao. So regardless of whether they go through or not, I think we could get to the final. Is what I was just trying to say. Yeah. There we have it. Then the end of another podcast. It was good. I enjoyed that. It felt nice and lean with the topics. No real drawn out things apart from the foot mob disaster of me not clicking through to another page, but we'll leave that indiscretion where it is on the cutting room floor if it makes it. But yeah, thanks again for listening. Really appreciate it. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out our shorts on there, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your usual podcasts.